Hey everyone, so my name is Stani Kulechov and I'm the CEO and founder of Aave. So Aave is a decentralized liquidity protocol that is built on the Ethereum blockchain network. And what's interesting about the Aave protocol is that it allows you to receive interest rate on your cryptographic deposits that you are depositing into the smart contracts. And when you're depositing into the Aave protocol, you can also borrow against your deposits liquidity. So you could deposit Bitcoin or Ethereum and borrow, for example, stable coins. And of course, you can also delegate your credit line to someone else as well. What's interesting about the Aave protocol is that it's kind of a part of this ecosystem called decentralized finance. So decentralized finance is practically a network of smart contracts that are interacting with each other, which have some sort of like a financial use case or application. So in case of, for example, Aave, the use case pretty much is the yields on deposits and also borrowing against collaterals. But in general, in DeFi, you can find various interesting applications. For example, you can swap assets, and how all of this DeFi, decentralized financial services are differing from example what we have used to in the cryptocurrency space is that the idea in DeFi is that all of the transactions are quite transparent because they're on the public network. But also the idea is that when you are interacting with the decentralized financial protocols, you pretty much are not giving up your custody. And that is something very important, equally important as you as an end user are holding and keeping kind of like self-banking, keeping your private keys to your cryptographic assets. And in the same way, with your keys, you can interact with decentralized financial protocols and in transparent fashion. But what makes the so this is the cool part from the user perspective, but from the kind of wider perspective, what makes decentralized finance and Aave quite cool is that practically anyone can access these services. I mean, in permissionless fashion, as anyone can obtain, for example, Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency. But also anyone can access the decentralized financial services and also build new decentralized financial services. It sounds a bit obvious, but how we used to build applications as developers in the kind of old finance or traditional finance is that you pretty much have to have a so-called API token to access one particular service and probably another one to another service that you probably want to use. And the difference about decentralized finance is that anyone can actually just start building, and all the contracts, smart contracts, are talking to each other. So that's the kind of like a interesting perspective, and that is why a lot of things are being built currently in DeFi, and Aave is also kind of like one of the protocols that is consumed in most sense, because we have a lot of developers building on top of Aave interesting products, but also there's quite a lot of usage. So we launched the protocol beginning of last year in 2020, and what was interesting is that we started completely from scratch in the sense that it took us roughly a period of 1 year to build the protocol and audit the contracts and finally get it to the main Ethereum network, which practically means that it's live protocol and accessible by anyone. Since we launched, I think we have currently roughly 3.5 billion worth of market size, and this practically means the amount of deposits and the borrowing market altogether. And it's kind of fascinating to see like how fast the whole ecosystem has been growing. And I would say kind of like DeFi isn't anything new. So if you think about it, decentralized finance at its very core is something that, for example, Bitcoin as a protocol is as well. Bitcoin, for example, is a way of sending store of value units from one address to another. So it's kind of like the same way as decentralized finance is being built today. Practically, you have your keys. You can give your custody of your keys to someone else, but that's a different story, and that's something that's a layer that can build on top of the protocol itself, and services that can be built on top. But the main ideas are quite the same. Yeah, so these are quite fascinating properties that decentralized finance has in its core kind of like a principles and system. And for us, what's important with Aave is that we aim to continue building the same path of decentralized services. And recently we have had quite a lot of institutional interest from practically traditional finance who are looking now into decentralized finance and the potential yield opportunities. So the current state of the economy is in a kind of a situation where you have a atmosphere of negative interest rates, which is practically expanding more and more. And there is multiple reasons why, and mainly because the governments try to get the economy to work more better by practically getting more supply of funds and getting more money into the system. And practically this means that the traditional financial offerings aren't as high yielding as they used to be in history. And when you look into, for example, DeFi and Aave, practically in terms of stable coins, which are pretty much cryptographic assets that are pegged to the value of the US dollar, you actually can get yields up from 4% to 6% on an annual basis. And not just kind of like, it's not unsecured yields in the sense, because all of the lending activity that is based in Aave is over collateralized. So there's always collateral in the system. But what's interesting here is that those yields are quite high compared to what we see in the traditional finance. And this arbitrage is something that has sparked a lot of interest and a lot of interest in terms of institutional users and amongst retailers, because obviously if you're putting funds into a bank that doesn't offer you pretty much anything in even an annual period, it's kind of unfair situation in that sense. And what decentralized finance is trying to do is to create liquidity pools globally accessible by anyone, and also practically ecosystem where anyone can build new product offerings and new services. And this is the kind of main idea what we're building. DeFi might have been something that you already have heard about, but to really understand what DeFi or Aave is all about, I would definitely recommend to go and learn more in the whole what's happening in the ecosystem, how decentralized finance works, what kind of potential use cases it could have, and also trying out different decentralized financial protocols. So that's something that I really recommend for everyone to do. And it doesn't matter how long you have been in the crypto or on which cryptocurrencies you believe, but in general, DeFi is pretty much part of every narrative in crypto. And I think it's just now has started to become more popular. So yeah, this was all for today. I hope you enjoyed this small narrative on decentralized finance and the ecosystem and what it's all about. There's probably other speakers might be talking on the same topic, so I hope you enjoy also their talks, and I also hope you enjoy the event. And if you have something to ask or follow up, feel free to follow us on for example, at aave.com and or Twitter, Aave on Twitter. And yeah, that's all about for today. Thank you so much.